Yo, welcome to the Men Who Cry podcast. Thank you guys again for listening. Just for the record for everyone, we are recording this on Wednesday, right before the Knicks-Sixers game. And so I will be saying a lot of things that might sound very foolish on Friday, but don't hold me that accountable. How you doing though, man?
I'm chilling, it's playoff season. Sports is overall, it's been great. I'm keeping up with the NBA playoffs as well as Champions League. For those of you who watch European soccer, it's just been a great time, a great May, great April as well, a great spring as a sports fan. So no complaints on that front.
Listen, man, I made a declaration this was last month. The April into May time is the best sports time of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little on the fence too, but yeah, I think I have to agree with you there.
Listen, it's just a great time, okay? And football even has its little moments in here. But
True.
we're obviously going to be talking about the NBA, talking about the NBA playoffs. How have you felt so far about the playoffs? Because I was dead wrong when we did this. When we spoke, I said that the first round was going to be a dud, and it has been anything but a dud. How have you felt about the playoffs so far? We are now just entering into the second round.
Yeah, I was kind of like on the other side of the fence with you when it comes to being excited about the playoffs. I was basically like, there's so many teams that are in contention, even though we have the great teams like your Spurs and OKC Thunder, the Pistons rising in the East, of course your Knicks. Basically, it's like it's a lot of balance on both sides of the league, East and West. When you have so many contenders, so many people that could potentially win the finals, that just breeds, that uncertainty, which breeds excitement, especially from a fan who just loves the sport. So, yeah, it has definitely reached and fulfilled my expectations, at least round one. And round two is looking like it's going to continue that because we have some great matchups, some fun storylines, and a lot of young and budding stars that are looking to take that next step and cementing their status within the league. I know no one wants to take on the face of the league role, but there are a lot of candidates that are still playing in the playoffs right now for that.
Exactly. One guy who I do not think is the face of the league, but definitely is the face of his team and the face of the city is Jalen Brunson. I just wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about him because I do what I can to not come across as a homer as I do this pod. We pretty much talk about every other team that we can, and I feel like a very little amount of time talking about the Knicks, but I feel like this has to be talked about. At some point, we got to stop disrespecting this man. It's got to stop. I was just decided to look up some of his numbers. Do you know that Jalen Brunson, since 2000, has the highest scoring average against one team? He's averaging 35 and a half, basically, against the Sixers. It's only him, LeBron, and Steph Curry have had 5 straight 35-point games against the same team in the playoffs.
Oh, in the playoffs, that's even better. Yeah.
Yes, in the playoffs. I'm going to go through the guys who are up there. So he's number 1 at 7 games against the Sixers. Number 2 is Luka Doncic against the Clippers. Now, he's played the Clippers 13 times.
Yeah.
Devin Booker is 3rd on this list, right above Allen Iverson. Both are at 33.3 and 33.2. Booker did that against the Denver Nuggets. AI did that against the Los Angeles Lakers. That was when it was in the finals, where it was just essentially AI and some guys.
Yeah. It's just one series, too.
Exactly. Next on that list was, people forget this, it was Kevin Durant against the Bucks, against the series that went 7 games. He averaged 32.4 a game against those guys in that one series.
Yeah, the toe on the line series.
On the line series. And this is the one I'm shocked, and maybe someone could double check me in the comments of this. LeBron James is next on this list against the Warriors at 30.5, but it says he's played the Warriors 28 times, which to some degree I believe, because there's 3 times they play in the finals. The first time he was at the all 3 times where he was on the Cavs.
Isn't
4
that 4
times? You're right. Oh yeah. You know what it was? I forgot the time that they won it. It's the time. Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah. I legit forgot the time that they won it because I was like, the time they lost and the 2 times they lost to Durant, but I forgot they won it at one time, and the time when he was on the Lakers against Golden State and the play-in game.
True.
So that's going to add up to 28 times against the Warriors. But something else even crazier, in Philadelphia, where Jalen Brunson won 2 national championships, and what I say to my friends all the time, has done more for the city of Philadelphia than Joel Embiid. He has lost 1 game in Philadelphia in his career. He's 8-1, including the playoffs, and the 1 game he lost was the game that Joel had 50 points in the game, in which he had 39 points in the game.
Yeah.
This man is one of the best players in the league, full stop. And he owns that team, owns them. I'm so mad at myself because I picked the Knicks to win in 7 games. I should have had this as 5 games. Now, as we were recording this, we did find out recently that Joel Embiid is going to miss 1 game. He's going to miss game 2. And this will come out the day before the Knicks and the Sixers play game 3. I'll ask you this, 2 questions. 1, do you feel that I am overhyping this man, Jalen Brunson, and what he has done so far? A man who's only been to 1 conference finals, no NBA finals, no MVPs, no first-team All-NBAs. And the second question is, do you think the Sixers are just trying to buy time for Embiid, or do you think he's like, not saying he's not hurt, I do believe he's hurt, but that he's going to return in this series?
I will answer the second question because I feel like that's a shorter answer that's needed. And they're definitely trying to buy as much time as needed for Joel Embiid just because of his overall situation. I mean, he is the most injury-prone player in the league. The most injury-prone players still left. That's vital to their team. And literally, he had surgery like a month ago. So the fact that he's still able to run up and down the court is probably a medical miracle. But especially, and he's also dealing with hip injury, right? It was hip and knee.
It's a hip and an ankle. It's not even that's the craziest thing. Think about what you said. He has surgery on his appendectomy, which is in his stomach. Mm-hmm. He got hit in his knee, and he's out because of his hip and his ankle.
Yeah.
Like 4 different body parts are essentially being affected.
Right. And then on top of that, he's like 7'1" and pushing 290 pounds. Like again, a medical miracle that he's able to continue to be a professional athlete. But they're trying to buy as much time as possible, because unequivocally, I mean, we found out in the Boston series, like they are a better team with Embiid on the court. Mm-hmm. They may play differently without him on the court. Some may say more faster, more dynamic, but in terms of what they are capable of doing and their best overall, how they look overall in terms of like the best they can be, they need Embiid on the court. And so whatever they can do to give him a chance to be in as many games as possible is what they're going to do, which I would say they probably need to win game 2 in order to have somewhat of a chance.
They have to win game 2.
Exactly. Maybe, that just means the injury must have been that significant or serious to keep him out. But yeah, to answer that question, they're going to do whatever they can to keep him in the series because when he's at least 80%, he's probably their biggest mismatch. But yeah, and then to go back to the Brunson point, the quote unquote Brunson disrespect, gotta give credit to Knicks fans, like their passion overall. You guys definitely ride hard for your team and the best players on the team. And growing up, I always thought that this kind of teetered on, overconfidence or just being, blinded by your love and passion for the team.
Listen, man, I feel like me the best. I don't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, this is the only time you've known me when the Knicks have been good.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this before this moment came into play. I just wanted them to stop being a laughingstock. Like, I had no expectations they would ever compete for a championship. I just want to stop being ass. That was my expectation, truly.
Fair. Yeah. No, yeah, a great point and reasonable expectations, especially considering what the team was for most of this century. But I think it's unarguable that Brunson is like hands down the best player in this series. He is clearly the best player that's currently in their prime in this series. When you take into consideration like Tyrese Maxey, who still has good potential. He's still 4 years younger than Brunson. But in this current moment, I will still take Brunson as the best player in the series. Even taking into consideration Embiid and Paul George, who we talked about. I mean, not Paul, but Embiid, who we talked about, is injury prone. Paul George himself is also injury prone. And both of them are just older in their careers to the point that you probably can't even make that argument that they are the best players in this series. So just on that front alone, you have any sane person will say Brunson is the best player in the series. But I think a more interesting question might be, is Brunson the best player left in the playoffs, at least in the Eastern Conference? So, like, other players you can possibly take into considerations would be his own teammates, Carl Anthony Towns, who some Knicks fans say, although Brunson is playing the best, in order for the Knicks to win and at least win the East, Carl Anthony Towns is the most vital and important player in that formula. OG Anunoby, who's had a great playoffs so far. I mean, no one's going to say he's the best player on the team, but just want to throw his name in there.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Okay.
You'd be surprised. I have definitely been in some conversations where not a lot. It's not. I wouldn't even say it's a vocal minority. It is just you have heard that sentiment been said, and for those people's points, I get what they're saying. He is clearly the best two-way player.
Exactly.
His creativity has gotten a lot better than when he first came to the Knicks. One of the biggest things was that this dude could never make a layup. It was always, if he didn't dunk the basketball, he would miss it in some magical way. But he's gotten a lot better, I would say, over the last few months of finishing around the rim and being able to somewhat create his offense a little bit more consistently. Literally like how I feel like Jaden McDaniels is kind of taking a little bit of a step up offensively. I think OG Anunoby was like a better offensive player than Jaden, but I think he's had somewhat of a rise as well.
Yeah, as far as I like that comp, actually. That's a really good comp. Yeah, who else? Tyrese Maxey, like I said before, he's not quite there, but I do hold him in high regards, especially after in that Boston series. It's funny, in that game 7, when in that fourth quarter, when they realized Tyrese is the best player on the team, they stopped force feeding the ball to Embiid and let Maxey attack the rim and attack the defense. So, but yeah, or we can switch over to like the other Eastern Conference series in terms of determining who the best player in the East still is. James Harden, I think you can clearly say no. But Jalen Brown, no, especially this playoffs hasn't helped his case in terms of being a top flight player.
Or his bank account.
Yeah. Bad timing. It's like the opposite of what's happening with Tobias Harris.
Listen, what do we say, man? Great player, Hall of Fame bank account.
Exactly. Yeah, he puts the professional and professional bag getter,
Yeah.
Then you have like Donovan Mitchell and Cade Cunningham, two players who are up there, but I don't know, and probably the two players you can maybe make a case for being the best players left in the East. In regards to Cade, though, I really like his game. We talk about two-way players. He's probably definitely more of a two-way player compared to Brunson. But in this current moment, though, I would still take Brunson, mostly because like I've seen Brunson rise to the occasion and carry his team to victory, especially in the playoffs, for longer and more consistently than Cade. Mind you, the Pistons just got good last year, where they also lost to the Knicks and Brunson. And also, Cade just won his first playoff series just like 3 days ago. So
did you see that? Sorry,
no,
I was going to say, did you see that stat that said that this was the first time the Pistons had led a series since, like, did they say 2008?
Yeah.
I was like, that's insane.
Yeah, it was the first time they won a series since like 2008, since like Rip Hamilton was still on the team.
I would think they won game 1 or like was up 2-1 at any point. Had it been, they hadn't had a 2-1, 3-something series lead at any point in their history until the day they just beat the Cavs, which is insane. It's funny thing that I always say, there's always one of my favorite, I'm not on Twitter, but one of the favorite things I love to see on Twitter is always, everyone is better than Jalen Brunson until it's time to be better than Jalen Brunson. I'm going to go over some of the guys that you named. Donovan Mitchell, beat him in a playoff series, outplayed him. Joel Embiid, we already talked about the Philadelphia series. Tyrese Maxey falls in that same bucket. Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown sent those guys home. Jalen Johnson, who got to his first playoffs this year, was said to be a better player than Jalen Brunson. And the aforementioned Cade Cunningham, who he sent to 8 Mile last season with one of the most iconic shots you will see in the postseason. This man, I get the fault, and I do understand that we are now, I think basketball has changed so much where it's now not so much about how good is your best players, but how bad or how good is your worst player, right? Like we're seeing this, we could transition a little bit to the Lakers now, how LeBron James is still one of the best players on the court. Every time he plays, he's still impacting winning on the court. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did not have a good game the last time they played. He had like 18 points. He did not get to the free throw line at all. He had 7 turnovers in the game. J-Dub did not play in that game against the Lakers. And the Lakers still lost by double digits.
Yeah.
And that speaks to the depth and how much talent overall a team like the Thunder have. And so do I think if I put Jalen Brunson on a worse team, like if it was like, hey, man, you got to carry these boys to the finals, do I think he would do that? No, I don't. I really don't. Like, I think he would get to, like, he's taken worse teams to the playoffs. Like, the year where I was like, oh, this guy's a superstar was the year when, 2 years ago, where basically like half, it was like half the team was hurt. Randall got hurt. OG got hurt. Like, he got hurt at points. Like, the team was dropping like flies, and they still got to the 2 seed and won 50 games because he dragged them there and won a playoff series. And you could argue if he doesn't break his hand, wins that series against the Pacers. Now, I don't go that far because they played that same Pacers team the next year and got ran out the gym. So, but this guy is one of the best players in the league. Hand stop. And it's going to happen again. Like, spoiler, they are going to beat the Sixers. Whether it's in 4, 5 games or whatever, they're going to beat the Sixers. And they're going to play either a Detroit team where a lot of people are going to pick Cade as being the best player in that series. And I understand, like I said before, there's a lot more two-way play available with Cade. Or they're going to pick a team where it'll be Donovan Mitchell's first conference finals in his career.
Yeah.
And they just love the way that he plays. I'm still taking Jalen Brunson over all those guys because I just think he is that dominant of a player. And when the moment is there, he meets the moment. And to me, that is the biggest compliment I can give an athlete. It is when your best is needed, he gives you his best. And especially for this team against the Sixers, this team just can't check him. And it'll be interesting to see, like we just said, how the Sixers are able to come out in a game that, like I said, I do think they are a live dog to win this game. I would not put it past them to win this game. I mean,
they need a great maxi game.
Yes, I think they need a great maxi game, and I think they need one of VJ, PG to give them something. And I think the Knicks have to go cold. And I think also it's the fact that Nick, I'll give Nick right credit for this because he said it. It's one of those games where it's like, all right, screw it. We're going to shoot feast. Mm-hmm. And there's just a night where like either you're hitting, they're not. And the thing about it is, it's human nature, dog. This team is playing on fire. They are ripping teams apart. You can't keep playing this well.
Ever since like game 4 against the Hawks, they
ever
figured
since
something
game
out.
4, they have been smoking teams.
Yeah.
And again, I do not think Philadelphia can guard them. This is not me saying Philadelphia can guard them. What I'm saying is that I think Philadelphia, if Maxey has a great game, it's a game where it's like, all right, we got 125, 120 kind of thing. You know, like they just were able to hit a bunch of threes, get foul shots, muck up the game. Knicks turned the ball over a lot. And they eke a game out in the Garden. That's the way that I think is their best chance of winning.
Yeah. And like you said, even if they go back, well, not if, when they go back to Philly, it's not like they have much an advantage there because you said, Brunson kills against the Sixers regardless of home and away. And like also like 3, 4, is it 3? No, 3.
3 of the guys. Yeah.
Nova.
Used to be 4, but now it's 3.
Yeah. So, like, they're comfortable there. But, yeah, I mean, I think all in all, Brunson, the disrespect isn't warranted. If they're still out there, he is unequivocally a great player, the best in the East right now. And, I mean, it's the Knicks world right now, and we're just living in it. Hopefully, for Knicks fans, they're able to, see it all the way through to reach the finals. That'll be a whole nother discussion there. But they're definitely, in terms of highest ceiling, because what we've seen with the Pistons and their hot and coldness on offense, they're definitely the team that's most capable of making it to the finals out the East.
Well, I also want to talk about the Pistons a bit, the Pistons and the Cavs series. A game that, again, every time you watch the Pistons play, I feel like I am watching basketball from 2002. Like, holy hell. I picked the Cavs in 7.
Wow, really?
I'm not lying to you, man. I had no conviction over this series. To me, it was like was the way I looked at it was this. I think these are two distinct fights. I think these are, can Cleveland hit enough shots against Detroit's defense and get them moving? And I was wondering whether or not Cleveland could withstand Detroit's physicality. Well, in game one, they couldn't. Like, Harden turned the ball over. You saw Jared Allen had 3 rebounds and 2 points.
Yeah, which is so shocking coming off of his great performance in Game 7. It's like, where did that go?
Yeah, every single time. Mobley got moved around, and I'm just like, the Pistons are not a great shooting team. They're not a great scoring team. They didn't score that much, frankly, in this game that they just played. But you can see how the physicality got to everyone on the Cavs, into Mitchell, into Harden, even though Harden had a little bit of a better fourth quarter. And again, like, Cleveland was there at the end to win the game. So that's why, like, I'm not fully off of it. Like, I do still think that the Cavs have a chance to come back and win this series.
Yeah.
But, I mean, trusting James Harden in the playoffs just doesn't feel good. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. And it's one of those things where I'm like, all right, well, like, here's another chance for him to disappoint me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so fun. Does this, like, James Harden in, like, big time games, especially like playoffs or Game 7, does this, like, quantify or qualify as, like, being the yips, you know?
It has to be.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's not just the yips. I think that we saw it in the game of the Thunder versus the Lakers. If your game is so dependent on the refs, the referees are a fluid, like, continuum. You know what I'm saying? They are a variant like 3-point shooting. Like, you will have referees who will call all your bullshit, right? You know, I would say Embiid got 7 free throws in the game that he played against the Knicks. Ryan Russillo did a good breakdown of this, and like 6 of them were just him falling down. Just falls down. And some crews are going to reward that, and some crews aren't. And so when you have someone like Harden, and again, Joel and SGA are better players than this guy, right? But if your game is reliant so much on that variance, I understand why his playoffs go up and down. To me, it's not that that's so concerning. He turns the ball over a lot. Like, a lot, man. For a guy who has Donovan Mitchell on his team, and mind you, James Harden is one of the best ball handlers in the league. For him to turn the ball over as much as he does, is an alarming affair.
It feels mental almost. Not to diagnose him, but like, sports wise, it feels like psychological. Like, something happens where he gets anxiety or anxious about, you know, his ability to play make and just rise to the occasion. And we just keep seeing this over and over. And for someone who, you know, grew up loving James Harden in his game, but like, you can feel it in that Game 7, and to the point, like, kind of got lucky that, you know, someone like Jared Allen was able to rise to and have a great game, and Donovan Mitchell caught on towards like the second quarter and into the second half. Yeah, in terms of relying on him or needing him to, you know, give help, I keep saying step up, but, you know, play to someone, to something that you think he's capable of doing, relying on that just feels like a fool's gold, you know, something you shouldn't do at this point. Be stupid to rely on if you're, you know, the head coach of the Cavs or even just his teammates in general. So it was just sad to say for someone of a career like James Harden, but it is what it is at this point.
Also, the Cavs are going to be living in hell if they lose to the coach that they fired to get this new coach.
Facts, yeah.
Completely forgot Bickerstaff. I knew Bickerstaff was coaching the Cavs, but like, I was like, oh crap, they're going to play each other.
Right.
So who else has the best knowledge of how that team's going to play than Bickerstaff? So yes, a very interesting just series. Like, Cade continues to really impress me overall. Like you said, I do think his two-way play is important because you do not have to bend your defense so much to account for him.
Right.
And so his ability to just be a solid defender,
I
think is it works wonders for their overall team and the effort for them.
And he can rim protect as a big guard.
Exactly.
Like something that's not stated often when considering his game. But like, he's really, really good rim protector, which, you know, he's like, what, 6'8"? So
yeah, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think his ability to do that, and the fact that Cleveland doesn't really have anyone to guard him. I mean, they put Dean Wade on him, but that's not.
Yeah.
And then because the problem with Cleveland is that they have a bunch of guards and like a couple of centers. You know, they have Allen, they have Mobley, and then they have
Thomas
they're
Bryant.
dusting off Thomas Bryant. But it's just their two guards, and then it's Keon Ellis, and then it's Dennis Schroeder, and it's like Max Strus. Like those guys are all small, you know. And yeah, Tyson was trying to guard him too, but like, you know, I just don't think those guys fundamentally have an ability to stop him for what he wants to do. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to lose the series. We have seen Cade have big games and the Pistons lose those games. And so I think that series going out forward is just going to be, can Cleveland handle the physicality of what Detroit is going to do? And then can Detroit keep bullying them? When I say them, I mean Allen and Mobley
Yeah.
underneath the basket.
No, for sure. Especially considering that Cavaliers offensively is definitely like a level above. You know, Cade, like you say, is a great player, but like in totality, the Cavaliers should be able to produce at a level above to kind of counteract their deficiencies and lack of physicality on defense. But yeah, I mean, we saw with the Magic series, like if a team can be physical with the Pistons, then they'll have a great chance. But it's just that with a team like the Cavaliers, who, you know, you can say last year when they lost to wasn't it last year they lost to the Knicks?
No, 2 years ago they lost to
2
the
years
Knicks.
ago.
Last year they
Yeah.
lost to the Celtics? No, they lost to the
Oh, the Pacers.
Pacers, yes.
Okay,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, the 0-2 start, and then they got fucking blitzed in game 4.
Yeah, but that was a different place. That I was trying to make the point that the Knicks were also physical when they beat them 2 years ago.
Physicality beats them all the time. That's the
Exactly.
thing. That's why this is a styles makes fights. It's going to be, are you going to lose in the same way again I wouldn't say that so I would say the Pacers were physical, but in a different way. Like they weren't physical in the terms of like beating them up under the ground per se, but I felt like someone like Aaron Nesmith is physical in terms of beating up someone like Donovan Mitchell.
On the perimeter, yeah.
Yeah. Now the Pacers play this whole thing where it's like what you can get off, but we're not letting anyone else get off. If you look at Donovan Mitchell's numbers in that series, he went off against those guys. Same thing. I believe Jalen Brunson's career high in the playoffs, his second career high in the playoffs is 44, and that was against the Pacers in a game that they lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's because they employ a lot of small guards, but those guards are strong. And they are basically like, we are not letting anyone else do anything around here.
Right. Which is key when you have a team. No, yeah, I was like, which is usually the strategy when you have a team that's like has that one high usage player. You know, you just make everyone else beat you.
Yeah. Transition to Minnesota Spurs. You weren't on this, but I had Minnesota win this series. I just felt like the Spurs is not their time. And I think that NBA history has shown you time and time again, these young teams, they win a bunch of regular season games, then they get into the playoffs, and that's a different motherfucker. Okay? A lot of shit goes. You don't know what you don't know. And a lot of these teams get beat the hell up coming into the playoffs. And I think that's what's happening with the Spurs. And that was the main reason why I couldn't pick them to get to the finals this year, even though I do think they match up with OKC well. And I think it's twofold. One, I think it is a learning experience for the Spurs in the sense of how physical the playoffs can really be when you're playing a team that's like not necessarily, I say, more talented than the Spurs. If you wanted me to say talent for talent, I would say the Spurs are, even if the Wolves were healthy. But it's not like the gap is massive, you know? Like the Wolves have great players on their team too. And I think that seeing just how much the Wolves, like, they drove to the basket all the time. Wemby had 12 blocks, and it didn't matter. They kept driving on him. And I think a team that has almost that fuck you energy to you to get inside to the playoffs, I think is the reason why I've always just been enamored by them. And the fact that Ant's like just one of those dudes who's like, I don't give a fuck, I'm doing what I gotta do.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason why I'm so impressed by just how they are overall.
Nah. You know, when you put it like that, it does make a lot of sense why you would go with the Wolves. And even just looking at what happened in game 1, this is not a perfect analogy, and I might get cooked in the comments for making this comparison. But just to go back in like NBA history, remember the lore of Michael Jordan and like especially it was like 1990 when they went up against the Pistons and those Bulls were still a team on the rise and they were going against this veteran team in the Pistons who were defending champions who've been there and done that, have gone through the battles before. And they essentially they showed that there was still levels to this because they got physical in Michael Jordan, hence the Jordan rules and all that.
Great book, by the way.
They beat them up. They beat them up in the lane. They made everyone else try to beat them, things of that nature. It's like they say, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. It does give me a little similarities of what's happening now with Wemby and how he's dealing with the Wolves. Like you saw Nas Reed getting real physical with him, Julius Randle getting real physical with him, even Gobert is getting, is able to match his height, but also be more physical with him. And so definitely there's still like a learning curve, for lack of a better term, but there's still more for Wemby to do to reach that legendary status or just best in the league status. And that definitely, as we see what's playing out in this series, is going to come with being more physical and being stronger and being able to withstand the physicality that obviously teams are going to employ on him, especially when you get into the playoffs, and especially when you have a team like the Timberwolves who their whole MO is playing with pace and physicality. So yeah, like I said, terrible, not the best analogy, but I definitely see this, like you said, if you were to, subscribe to the idea that the Spurs still need to learn and need to evolve more, this is kind of similar to that Bulls team in the 1990s, still needing to learn how to be a team that's been there and done that. And like in this case, the Wolves have been there and done that. Two straight conference finals. They are battle tested when it comes to the playoffs, especially dealing with great or playing against great players, i.e. Jokic and Luka Doncic. So yeah, I think I might have to agree with you, although I would still say the Spurs are just so much better talent-wise that I feel like if they can withstand the physicality, offensively, they have more answers or options than the Wolves, especially with Ant being injured, to possibly get this series out in like 6 or 7 games. But to your point, being that Spurs it just might not be the right time for them, I can definitely understand where you're coming from with that.
Exactly, man. Like NBA is cruel to young teams. It just is, It's always has been, it always will be, and you don't know what you don't know until you
You
get
go
there.
through it. Yeah.
Exactly. Honestly, I don't really have too much more. If you want to talk more about your Lakers and how they are or aren't going to do,
Yeah.
I'm pretty convinced we know how this series is going to go. But, how do you feel so far about the Lakers being currently down 0-1 is the time we were recording this to
Yeah.
Thunder?
I think I said this the last time I was on your pod, essentially that if the Lakers were able to win one round or get one playoff series win, that the season is a success with all things considered, especially looking at the injuries and, your who was supposed to be your third best player turned into essentially your best player, and LeBron James being a 40-year-old 23 season veteran. So all things considered, hats off to JJ to putting this team in the position that they're in now, especially just looking at the talent deficiencies, especially shooting deficiencies of the roster. But I know you posed a question in the outline for this pod or essentially the notion is like, is LeBron still good? And this season definitely unequivocally has like cemented that 41-year-old LeBron is still a good to great player in this league, especially when you consider his stats. I remember it was like halfway through the season, people were bringing up the point that his stats were kind of comparable to some of his MVP seasons with Miami.
Yeah.
And then
well, the 3-point shooting is just going to help so much out with that.
Exactly.
Now.
Yeah, that's true. Better shooting usually comes with age, i.e. Jason Kidd. But yeah, you just have to remember he is 41 years old, playing his 23rd season, and he's still doing this. And so I appreciate LeBron. I'm not like the biggest LeBron glazer, but like, greatness is greatness. And so I'm not going to sit here and do like a Stephen A. hot take and see like, oh, this just proves that, he's holding the team back. Like he is doing all he can to even have the Lakers in this position to, be in round 2 with their best player, the player who led the league in scoring, still being out. But With all this being said, LeBron is an unrestricted free agent this upcoming summer. Like most rational NBA fans and even Laker fans will say, we are not winning this series. Fingers crossed we can put up a fight, maybe get one game.
That the goal just to get one?
The goal right now is to get one, and maybe if Austin Reeves remember that he can shoot, maybe two. I don't know.
I mean, Marcus Smart is taking 15 shots, man. Like
Yeah,
that to
but
me is like the tell all.
Yeah, watching that game one is like I shouldn't be hoping Marcus Smart to make these threes for us to have a chance. Like, but I mean, I don't want to crap on Rob Pelinka too much, but like that, the lack of shooting is kind of a GM issue. Like, you got to put together a better roster than this. I don't know, but point being said, LeBron, unrestricted free agent this upcoming summer, meaning that 50 million or $50.6 million will be coming off the Lakers' books when his deal expires. I think the question is, if the Lakers are serious about building a championship contending team around Luka, hopefully a healthy Luka, and likely Austin Reeves, re-signing LeBron is the linchpin on that strategy. I honestly don't know what to do if I were Rob Pelinka, especially if LeBron actually wants to return to the team, because the Lakers' whole MO is that we treat our legends with respect. Legends and big time players love playing for us because we value them and we pay them accordingly, obviously. But I don't see how the math works where you pay someone who's going to be 42 years old in December essentially max money, because unfortunately for LeBron, his stats and performance still require him to be paid like a top flight player. But yeah, so all in all, I think this is part of the reason why this might be like an off-season discussion or episode. Pelinka probably has the hardest job in terms of being a GM in the league right now, because being able to not only you have to pay Luka, who's owed a big contract soon. Obviously, you got Austin Reeves, also going to be, I want to say,
he's an unrestricted free agent this year. Yeah, but if you want to bring him back, the worse he plays in this series, the better it is for the Lakers overall.
Yeah, that is true. But so a lot of money that has to be committed within your best players, which leaves less money to fix the obvious deficiencies when it comes to just additional playmaking, which obviously is going to be needed if you're going to still have LeBron and Luka on the roster, one being older and one also being injury prone. And then shooting, man, like Luke Kennard was a good step in the right direction, but like we're seeing now, it's still not enough. Yeah, love Vando, RP to his pinky, but
yeah, man, that looked nasty.
Yeah, I saw the pictures. The bone came through the skin.
I didn't need to see the
yeah, but still, like Vando, great size, great defender.
He just can't shoot.
He can't shoot, and
well, that's to me, that's the biggest problem with the Lakers is that the biggest thing that they need, it's hard to find. Now, I do think that there is a world where they can try and get Peyton Watson from the Nuggets, basically because the Nuggets are cheap. And we will see if the Nuggets are willing to match rather an offer sheet for him. We haven't really seen a lot of restricted free agents move, but you never know. But the issue is that the thing that they need is they need big athletic wings that can shoot threes. Right. The Aaron Gordons, the OG Ananobis, the Jaden McDaniels, they need a lot of those, but those guys, don't come available free and aren't cheap. These guys are like the offensive linemen in the NFL. Anytime an offensive lineman hits free agency, I am very nervous, okay? Because those guys just don't get free. And same thing with wings. And so I think that for the Lakers, they are, and I said this when they first made the Luka trade, it was a good trade for them extending out their entire future, right? Like now you have a guy where you need a guy and you can have him on your roster for 10 years, hopefully.
Yeah.
You'll be in contention for him for like that. To me, it kind of reminded me of Juan Soto getting signed to the Mets, right? Young guy, he's on the team for a long time. The issue is that you basically took your championship window and instead of having it be right now, you pushed it back a couple years. And are Laker fans going to be okay with that? Probably not. But that said, you still got Luka Doncic, who I still believe in. I still have question marks about him overall. But I do think that he is still a guy that will be Like he's just going to be one of the best players in the league, and I just can't believe that a guy who's that good is going to be someone who doesn't help you get to
Yeah.
the finals, the conference finals, things like that.
On the flip side, it doesn't help that he was coming off of calf strain issues with the Mavericks, and now he has
Yes.
hamstring issues with the Lakers now. Those are two like nagging, long-standing injuries that
Yeah.
can kind of hamper and also lead to other injuries down the line.
Bro,
So
outside of his rookie year, he's hurt for
yeah,
significant times every year.
yeah. So in terms of him being like the franchise player, the person you put all the cards on, not a lot of confidence, but also he's still so talented and like such an elite to legendary scorer that you take that risk.
Yeah. We can close up real quick with just talking about Jalen Brown.
Okay.
The man who ceases to never amaze. I think that Jalen Brown will not be on the Celtics next season.
That has been growing.
I just think he got too much of that good sugar, man.
Yeah.
When you become the guy,
Yeah.
when you are like, I'm the guy, right? He said it. Jalen Brown said that this was my favorite season of my career. This is a man who has been to the finals. This is a man who has won a championship. This is a man who has won conference MVP and finals MVP. And this season, where they lost a 3-1 lead, losing 2 home games to a team that they beat routinely, that this was his best season or favorite season, the booger sugar is too good, man. It's too good. And to me, I think that because Jalen Brown is a very smart guy and he's very media savvy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he knew exactly what he was doing. I think that this was not, what am I doing? No, I think he knows exactly what he was trying to do. And I feel as if that he is actively like, listen, this town ain't big enough for both of us. They are not leaving. They are not letting go of Tatum. I might need to find my way out. There are a lot of places I think he can go. Atlanta, I think, is a really good spot for him, potentially. I think that's probably the best place for him because it's a good team. They desperately need a star player, like a real, like, 1A guy on the team. And he makes a lot of sense going down there. If New Orleans wants to keep trying to win, maybe that's a team that he wants to go to as well. But yeah, I think that he has played his last days in Boston.
Really? I mean, wouldn't that require a trade, right?
Yeah. He requires a trade. The Simmons and Nick Wright bantied about essentially a 3-team trade. Now, I don't necessarily know if the Giannis, because, Simmons is going to try and push to get Giannis on his team now. I don't necessarily know if Giannis going to the Celtics makes any sense, but I do think that the way that this guy talked, he's not going back to being the number 2. He's not. Like, it's too good. You got too much of the sugar. And and Jason Tatum's still in his prime. So is he going to go back to being, he's like, no, I'll take a back seat. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things. So yeah, I just don't think that I just don't know if this is going to be like a season that they're going to keep playing together anymore,
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that happening. It is shocking to like say it out loud, but it's also shocking to hear out loud someone like Jalen Brown say that this was his favorite season after blowing a 3-1 lead in the playoffs. But I always found it so interesting. It's funny in terms like, I mean, I don't know these people, and just from the outside looking in, the temperament of Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum, like, you can almost say like Brown has like the temperament of like your Batman, and Tatum has like the temperament and personality of your Robin, but like just because of their skill set and just athletic profile, it's kind of switched, whereas, and also how they're treated by their teams. If you ask Jalen Brown, it's kind of switched in that like Tatum is more, seen and profiled as your Batman on this Celtics team. And like, Brown is his Scottie Pippen to his Jordan. Yeah. In terms of like, well, it's obviously Brown wants to leave because just looking at his overall like character, he's an ambitious person. Like you said, he's intelligent, but just look like he chose to go to Berkeley over any other like blue blood school because he not only was smart, but he was ambitious enough to think that he can be both a scholar and a top flight athlete at Berkeley. His ambition led him
He's got to be their last like lottery pick. Has to be.
Yeah, probably.
Like, I can't, off the top of my head, I cannot think of one basketball player who has been even drafted who went to Cal.
Even
I mean, he's got to be, frankly, he's got to be one of their best basketball players in the history of the state, or not even of the state, of the team.
Yeah. It's probably like someone we're missing, but off the top of my head, I can't.
There's probably someone in like the late early times, like the 60s and 70s, that went to Cal. But like, again, like I can't name you a guy who went to Cal that's
right.
Has
even
played
like
in the NBA since him.
Yeah, because even like people from California or even from like the Oakland region, they don't usually go to Berkeley for school if they're a really good player.
No. Honestly, because Harden went to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Really, honestly, the only ones who did was a generation before. It was Westbrook went to UCLA.
Yeah.
DeRozan went to USC.
I mean, Dame is from Oakland, but like he wasn't recruited.
From Oakland, but he went to where is Weber State? Is that in Oakland?
No, I don't even think it's in California.
Exactly. I think his is a different.
He was under recruited as a high school
product. So you're at that point, you don't really have a preference. You're going where someone will take you.
Jason Kidd, I want to say, is from the Bay Area as well.
And he didn't go to Fresno State.
He went to Arizona or UCLA. I want to.
Why do I feel like he went to like Cal? I don't think he went to Cal.
Actually, he might have gone to Cal. Let me just look that up right quick.
Look this up. I think he went to like either like Fresno State or Cal.
He went to Cal.
Yep.
So
See,
there you go.
I knew it because I remember the pictures of him wearing some like mustard colored thing, but I knew it wasn't. It wasn't the UCLA colors. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, nice look at NBA history right there. But
there you guys go.
Yeah, just in general, Brown, an ambitious guy, and like that ambition obviously is going to breed and grow into someone like him with his talent and skill set, wanting to be the number one guy on the team. And it doesn't help that in terms of accomplishments, they've won the finals. He won Finals MVP. He's tasted winning. He's tasted what it feels like to be a contending team consistently over multiple years. And now that ambition has breeded itself into him wanting to do that on his own team. Honestly, you can't fault him, but like as a Celtics ownership or fan, like this is definitely a new headache for them. And which, as a Laker fan, I don't hate, but it's going to be fun to see how it plays out.
Listen, brother, you don't got to hate. I'm with you right there. So I appreciate that. But that's all the time that we have on the show today. Thank you guys again for listening. It'll mean a lot to us if you leave a 5-star rating, like, and subscribe. That is Olisa Azikiwe. Please tell the people what you got going on. What are you writing on your Substack? What are you showing the people out in the world?
All right. Yeah. Thank you for having me again. It was fun, per usual. The Fan Economist, or you can search up Sports NBA. One of the two should take you to my Substack. I do have an article coming out tomorrow about, essentially I did a deep dive on, why playoffs are formatted the way they are. It come from, I was watching Game 7 of Cavs Raptors, and then my sister came in and asked, like, why are these two teams playing again? And I was like, what are you talking about? It's the playoffs. And she was like, yeah, so like why they're playing again? Isn't it kind of like March Madness, one game and on to the next one? I was like, nah, pro sports don't work like that. They actually play a 7-game series. And then proceeded to tell her, more games, more home games, more revenue for teams and that nature. But I realized I didn't really have a comprehensive answer to the questions she was asking. So I took that as a motivation to, dive deeper, do some research, and figure out why pro sports, especially the NBA, MLB, and NHL, why did they agree on 7 games as being the magic number for a playoff series? And so I just that's what the article is about. Just you'll see my hypothesis and my findings on the research I was able to do about all that.
Nice. So make sure you give that a nice read, learn something about yourself, learn something about the NBA, and know that everything comes back to the dollar. Exactly. Thank you guys again for listening. If you guys do not listen to this podcast, I have to assume that you do not know the difference between sympathy and empathy. Thank you guys again for listening. Peace.